I guess I'm already fucking halfway into it. Jacked up the Nissan Murano. I'm doing a lower control arm on the right side of a Nissan Murano. That's what the part looks like. It comes with the ball joint installed already, so that saves a lot of headache. And I guess it's about $200. You could probably get it cheaper online. I just got it last minute from Norco. This is the part, the way it's sitting in the vehicle. And yeah, that's another bolt that you have to take out. And there's two under here holding that aluminum looking part. It's not aluminum. And then I just took out the ball joint here. I don't know if you can see that very well. But yeah, that's where the ball joint connects. I just got that bolt out with a 7mm wrench. You'll need a wrench. You hold the nut side, and then I just used a breaker bar and a 17mm to undo the bolt side here. And yeah, it came out pretty easy. Now I'm going to start knocking out the ball joint. I just got the ball joint out. I saw a video saying you're supposed to put a crowbar in between to open it up, but it's a little hard to access and like hammer something in between to spread that. I found mine was loose enough though that I could just hit this. I could just hit this part with the sledgehammer, and it came out in maybe 2 or 3 whacks. So now I'm gonna go to the next bolts on the other side. I think they're gonna be a little easier, but we'll find out. I'm using where the fuck is it? Just some penetrant, whatever. I sprayed it on the bolts early, and yeah, I think it's helping. But I think mine is just not too rusty. If yours is rusty, you're probably gonna have to use some amount of heat, maybe on your bolts, I guess. But ideally, you don't want to heat them until everything's red. Like I guess it weakens the metal apparently. But yeah, so the next bolt is right there. I'm gonna take that out just using the breaker bar. Hello. So I broke that nut and with the breaker bar, and now I'm using a big ratchet to undo it. It's pretty tight to get anything in there, but yeah, the way I had to get this little stubby extension to get a good angle on the bolt like that, and then just reefing up, was able to break that nut. That one was definitely the most difficult. Under here, I don't know if you can see that. These two came up pretty easy. Just got the breaker bar under there. I think those are both 19s. This one's also a 19. So yeah, I'm gonna keep pulling this out and then yeah, get this control arm out. So yeah, right on. I guess I hammered this part where the ball joint is. I hammered this down and then reefed on it this way and pulled this bushing out, and then I was able to wiggle the pinch, whatever it's called. I was able to wiggle that out last. I'm going to do a reverse order installing the new one. As you can see, the ball joint is, I don't know if you can see that, but the ball joint is pretty fucking loose. It just wiggles around completely freely with little pressure. This one, I can barely fucking move. Yeah, it's pretty stiff. So yeah, I think that was the problem, and we do see the boot is ripped. So yeah, I'm just ripping it more. Yeah, just farted. But yeah, I think this was the problem. But hopefully, yeah, hopefully that is all that needs to be fixed. So I'm gonna get on with it and reinstall this. And the torque specs for these two bolts is 110 foot-pounds. For this longer bolt that came out of there, that's going to be 147 foot-pounds. And then the bolt for the ball joint is 46. Right on. So I got the new part in. I found putting this in and this side in at the same time was kind of important. And then I just let the ball bearing side hang low. It's still hanging low. I'm going to use a jack to push it up into position. And you want to make sure you do not push up on this part here because that will damage the ball joint. So I'm going to be pushing on the arm to lift this thing into place. And then you'll know it's into place because the bolt will slip right through. And I'm just going to put the bolts in loosely and then all of them loosely, and then I'm going to torque them down. Right, so I got all the bolts in. I had to start with this one because I found the space here was too wide on the new part. So I started with these two bolts to make sure these were in. And then what the hell did I do? I pushed this bushing in, and that was a bit of a hassle. You have to knock it around a bit to line up the hole for the bolt. But yeah, once you do that, and you definitely want to thread these a little ways, or they're gonna pop out as you're moving the control arm. But once you're able to move this up and down, front to back, wherever you need to line up the holes, get that bolt through and threaded, and then putting in the ball joint is not going to be that bad. Let me just putting in what the fuck? Yeah, putting in the ball joint's not going to be that bad. You're going to want to line up that little groove in the ball joint with the hole here, or the bolt's not going to go through. Either if you're finding it looks like it's through and you're trying to push the bolt in, like you just have to push it up or down until the bolt just goes cleanly through. And then before I torque all of this down, I think we're going to have to lift the suspension. Yeah, I think we're going to have to lift the suspension to what would be riding, or put like enough force on it so that it simulates the weight it would be under while driving, and then torque everything down. So I'm going to go ahead and start doing that. Right, so I got the control arm jacked up. I'm almost lifting it off of the weight of the main jack, so that's going to simulate, as if the tire is supporting the weight of the car. And I'm going to go ahead and start torquing down the ball joint, the bushing, this bushing, and then that other silver one over there. So these are 110 foot-pounds. The ball joint is 46, and this bushing is going to be 147 foot-pounds. Yep, so you're going to need a torque wrench, most definitely. I got an OG old school one, but you can get a decent one for like 130 bucks, I guess, Canadian Tire or something. I got this for 80 at a flea market, but I like it. All right, I'll be torquing. Right, so I torqued everything down. These bolts are pretty easy. Same with the ball joint, that was very easy. This one, the access is a little difficult. I found for my breaker bar to break it, I needed to get one of these short 1/2-inch extensions, but on my torque wrench, because it's a little thicker, it actually doesn't work, so I used a universal adapter just to get that same length, I guess. It probably would work as well with a long 19, but this is what I had. So and everything's torqued down, so I'm about to release the jack, put the tire back on, see how it feels. And I guess generally you're supposed to get an alignment, but for fuck's sakes, I haven't really, I guess I'll do some bootleg alignment or whatever. If it's bad, I'll pay for one, but for fuck. Yeah, so I almost fucking forgot this, but there is a grease nipple. Can this focus, please? Jesus Christ. There is a grease nipple for the ball joint, for the new ball joint. There wasn't one on the old one, so I'm going to make sure I install that now. And yeah, and I guess, yeah, the ball joint's greasable, so that's kind of fucking nice. Yeah, you can see, and it's not, you know, pretty easy going. I think it's like an 8 wrench, and that's just like hand tight. Nothing crazy. I'm not using a torque wrench or nothing. Yeah, so I got the lugs back on, and I'm just torquing it down. These are actually supposed to be 85 foot-pounds, or 80. I go 85, I don't know. I'm used to just doing 100, I guess, but I'm going to the torque spec. And you're going to want to tighten in a star pattern to make sure you don't warp the rotor and that the tire is sitting even. So I like to just go around twice just to make sure everything's torqued properly and it didn't adjust whether you're doing one or the other. Yeah, but that's about it for the lower control arm. Yeah, I'll probably make some more videos just following the stuff I'm doing working on cars. Yeah, I imagine I have many more weekends filled with shit like this, so yeah, keep you posted. Alright, so I'm doing this after I already did the job, but I guess generally this is what I use to do the lower control arm. I didn't end up using the torch, but I went to get one anyways just in case. Yeah, a short half-inch. You're definitely going to need a half-inch breaker bar for sure. Universal adapter, or if you have multiple sizes of the half-inch extensions, that'd be useful, but I found the universal half-inch adapter pretty useful. Definitely going to need a sledge, some sort of penetrating oil fluid, whatever, PB blaster, whatever you want. The extension makes things very convenient. Having a big half-inch ratchet definitely helps for the one bolt with not much access. You need a 22 millimeter or a 7/8 to get off the ball joint nut. This 8 millimeter wrench is for the what the fuck is it called? The grease nipple that goes into the ball joint, and I guess I didn't put grease in, but I guess I should. You're gonna need 18 millimeter for the new ball joint nut, 21 millimeter for the lug nut, 19 millimeter for the other bolts, whatever, on the rest of the control arm. For these two bolts and for this bolt, you need a 19 millimeter. And what is this one? And you'll need the 17 millimeter for the other side of the ball joint. You're going to want to actually have two jacks. So I got that big red one, very happy about it. And I got this other one for helping push up the ball joint, but also for getting the control arm to be under load while you're torquing everything down, so that when you're driving it's not out of whack. And a jack stand is nice just for safety. And I find having an impact, like even this impact's mainly for like drilling or screwing stuff, like for carpentry, but like I find that size, like you get 200 foot-pounds out of it, like it's pretty good for ripping a bunch of stuff off, or even if you just break it with the breaker bar and then get the drill, that makes life way more convenient, especially with hard to reach places. You can just zap things right into place and then torque it down after. So yeah, and having gloves is nice. And I think that's about it.